Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I haven't read so many articles about Israel shelling or attacking positions, I don't know, targets within Syria as so often as in the past week and a half, 2 weeks. Before, I didn't notice them. Now it's like every other day the Israeli, I don't know, aircrafts or rockets, missiles, they hit targets in Syria. Remember, Syria is a sovereign country. Well, where is United Nations? Where is United States? Where are the sanctions? No, nowhere. But in this case, according to this article, the Israeli air attack hit a Syrian base, military base, where the Russians are located, used by the Russians. What's going on? The Russians will, if they didn't do it yet, they will shoot down a few Israeli airplanes. And then what? By mistake, by anger, by, I don't know, by something. So this article comes from Jerusalem Post. My friends, what's going on? So this comes from November 14th, 2022, because over there is already 14th. Syrian airbase hit by alleged Israeli airstrike used by Russian military. What do you guys want? You want to start a war over there? Again and again and again. I know the goal is, the prize is Iran, but you don't want to do it yourselves. You want the bully boy, Zimbabwe, from across Atlantic to do it for you. The runway and underground facilities as Shayrat, including aircraft shelters, have undergone a major expansion by the Russian military in the last 3 years. 2 Syrian soldiers were killed and 3 others were injured in alleged Israeli airstrike that hit the Shayrat airbase southeast of Homs on Sunday evening, according to Syrian state media SANA, S-A-N-A. The airstrikes were conducted from over Lebanese airspace in northern Lebanon, according to SANA. Syrian journalist Nour Abu Hassan reported that the airstrikes targeted a shipment of weapons intended for Hezbollah, which was on its way to Lebanon near the airport. The last Israeli airstrikes to target Syria were reported on October 27, when alleged Israeli airstrikes targeted sites in the Damascus area. 2 additional waves of airstrikes targeted the Damascus area in the days preceding those strikes. The runway and underground facilities of Shayrat, including aircraft shelters, have undergone a major expansion by the Russian military in the last 3 years, the military source said. Russia, which maintains a major military presence in Syria, has forces stationed near the Shayrat air base and uses the base, security sources say. It says last airstrike to target Shayrat was almost exactly a year ago. The last Israeli airstrike to target the Shayrat air base was reported in November of last year, when 2 Syrian soldiers were injured in strike targeting sites near Homs and Tartus. The airport has been used by Russian forces in the country as well. Shortly before the airstrike, the Alma, A-L-M-A, Research and Education Center reported that Iranian UAVs were being transferred to the Shayrat airbase. Well, I don't know. I don't know what to say. What's interesting is that I don't hear the Syrians attacking Israel. I know what people would say. Well, they were not there. Okay, they were not there, but it doesn't make it right either. You know what I mean? What is interesting is that you don't have outrage. You don't have the usual suspects. coming out and say, well, wait a second, what's that? That's a sovereign country right there. Why? The United States has troops in Syria. Unwanted, uninvited. They just dropped over there and said, do something about it. Nothing. So is that an invasion? Occupation? They suck dry the northeastern oil fields of Syria. That's where I think Syria has 90% of its oil, right? In northeast. That's where they get the oil. They just make sure that these guys are looting everything, and they just make sure the looting process goes smoothly. And they talk about Ukraine's sovereignty, which should not be violated, but the same should be valid for Syria. But you have Israel doing whatever it wants. It was a little vote a few days ago condemning United Nations. The General Assembly voted and they condemned Israel for the occupied territories, and they want to transfer whatever they voted on to the International Court of Justice to do something about Israel. Aren't you guys kidding? All these things are formalities. They will look good on paper. It's going to be there for people like me or like others. They're going to search for that and going to say, hey, look, they violated this. Even those guys voted and nothing happened. Nothing happened to that state. And they wonder, well, how about Kanye West? You know what I mean? And those guys are not checked. Anybody checks them, checks Israel's atomic little hanky-panky that they have, nuclear weapons? No, nobody. Why? Because they are a sovereign country. Do not fucking touch us. And nobody does, because the bully boy will jump and punch you in the face if you dare to say anything about their program or their weapons or anything like that. So yeah, that's the way the world works. That's the way we're supposed to function. And then if some country, let's say Serbia, does something that is not kosher, then everybody jumps and immediately they impose some sanctions. Or I don't know, the list is long. Venezuela, Cuba, and others, right? You don't do what they say, they go to the United Nations and they vote, and then some sanctions move immediately towards that, or embargo. But here, okay. So let's return to these guys. How in the hell those guys allegedly, right, hit within another country's targets, military target? I mean, how is that possible? How is that normal? How is that? It's just reported as a matter of fact. Imagine that, let's say, Canada would just shoot a transport of whatever weapons in the United States coming from, I don't know, from China. I'm just giving crazy scenarios. What do you think the United States will do? Nothing? Will eradicate Canada. I know Canadians, you're tough, but America is America, right? So anyway, it's just it's the names. This is a situational justice. It depends on who is who and who's who. And then based on that, they distribute sanctions and voting, and man, it's sanctions over here is virtue, is not right. Sovereignty, freedom, rights, lefts, all kinds. Yeah, and I think it was just interesting that the Israeli army hits wherever they want, and one day they will hit some Russians, I guarantee you, and the Russians will make some accidents and hit some Israeli warplanes, and then what? Nothing will happen. They will jump and nothing happen. Why? Because what Israel is going to do? Attack Russia? What is Russia going to do? Attack Israel? No. So some people died. They're going to shake hands behind their backs, and things business as usual. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.